Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, today Fuji finally released its last camera of the year, and this is the long-awaited Fuji X-T5. Now this camera is going to be coming in at a lower price point than the Fuji X-H2, but has the same sensor and a lot of other interesting features. So, roll intro. And let's get started. So the brand new Fujifilm X-T5, this is going to be coming in at $16.99 and packs a real punch with photography features. It's going to have the same sensor as the Fuji X-H2 that was announced a couple months ago, and that is the 40.2 megapixel X-Trans 5 sensor. Now this is not a stacked sensor, but it is backside illuminated. For mechanical shutter, this is going to be able to get up to 15 frames per second, just like that X-H2, but we are losing the 8K video, and this is a much smaller body than the X-H2, so it's not going to be able to handle the heat that would be generated by shooting 8K video. So they did limit it to that 6.2K video that we got in the X-H2S. And that is going to be maxed out at 30p. We are also going to be able to do 4K at up to 60p, and you're going to be able to shoot in 10-bit H.265 or 8-bit H.264 internally. We're also going to have F-Log2, so that is Fuji's new log profile, and we'll be able to output 6.2K raw video to an external recorder like the Blackmagic or Atomos external recorders. We are losing the fully articulating screen from the X-T4. Now that was the first XT camera to feature a fully articulating screen. Going back to a tilt screen with this camera, it will tilt up or down. It will also tilt to help with portrait orientation shooting. However, like with other previous XT cameras, we're going to have dual card slots. However, unlike the XH cameras, these are just going to be UHS-2 card slots. No CF Express here. So as with most of the cameras that I talk about on this channel, I have not been able to get my hands on this yet. The only people that have been able to get their hands on this camera are reviewers that had it ahead of time, reviewed it, and had an embargo until the announcement at 9 a.m. this morning on November 17th. Unless you're Robert's Camera, who decided to accidentally post their video early. So I actually watched a video on this camera with a hands-on component at 2 in the morning, 7 hours before the announcement. However, after that 9 a.m. announcement, the rest of the camera world had that embargo lifted and we got a lot more reviews, so I have been aggregating as many of those as I can today. And the overall consensus is that this is going to be pretty much the best camera you can get for that price range, which seems to be the case for each of the cameras that Fuji has released this year. The X-H2S was a little bit debatable at $2,500. You could kind of go with a couple other cameras depending on what exactly you needed, although the X-H2S was kind of the most well-rounded in that area. The X-H2 at $2,000 was pretty much unbeatable, and we're going to be getting the same unbeatable quality and features out of the $1,700 price range for the X-T5. This pretty much destroys any last sliver of hope that the Canon R7 had of being a viable camera this year. Unfortunately, if you already bought one, you are SOL because Fuji put out 3 cameras that just really destroyed it. And if you watch my highest viewed video, which was over 10,000 views, the X-T4 actually held its own against that pretty well. So really the X-T5 is just going to be completely out of that league. Interestingly, for that $2,500 price point, Canon came out swinging today with the Canon R6 Mark II, which I'll talk about in another video, but it did have some pretty nice features. But most of those features are outdone by the X-H2S unless you are looking for full frame. Finally, Fuji also announced a new lens today, and that's going to be a 30mm f2.8 macro lens, and that's going to come in at $600. And it seems like with each announcement of a camera this year, they're also trying to announce a lens. This one, I mean, I'm not really into macro very much, but it seems like an interesting one. So who is this camera for? Well, we had that X-H2S at $2,500, and that's for the person that's looking for the best video. And then we have the X-H2, which is for that person that's looking for the highest resolution possible. It's kind of like Sony's 2 lines with the S line and the R line. You do the S line for speed or sensitivity, I'm not exactly sure which one that is, but and then you have the R line for resolution. Well, we have the Fuji X-H2S that does amazing video and has high light sensitivity, and then we have the X-H2 that has the 40 megapixel sensor. So now trickling down some of those features from the X-H2 to the X-T5, this is an X-H2 on a budget. You are losing that 8K video, but you're still getting that 40 megapixel sensor. So for photography, for people that want to do big blow up photos, X-H2 is going to be the best, but X-T5 is going to be a bit cheaper. And then for people that still want to have most of the video capabilities of the X-H2S, minus a few things here and there, then you're going to get some of that too with the X-T5. So it really sits in the same space as the X-T3 and X-T4 did when there was the X-H1. It's a flagship, but is not the ultimate flagship from Fuji. It is a very competitively priced camera with extremely competitive features, and I can recommend it for pretty much anybody that wants to get into photography, get into videography, or upgrade from something lower like the X-T30, the X-E4, or the XS10. All right, so that's about everything I wanted to cover today. As I said earlier, I have not gotten my hands on this camera yet, but I would love to if I can soon. So hopefully that would be coming up in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer them as quickly as I can. All right, have a great one.